with On Air with Tony Sweet, only on Universal Broadcasting Network.
Okay, we're back. Like I said, it's a brand new year, brand new On Air with Tony Sweet. We even have a brand new website, onairwithtonysweet.com. Check it out. And also for my Truth Be Told show, Conspiracy Theory show, on Fridays, 4 to 6. Make sure you tune in. It's also have its own website, truthbetoldwebtv.com. So anyway, Jamal, I want you to introduce our first guest. Hey, oh yeah,
Hello.
a little bit.
Wow.
I know, right? All right, so you ready?
Yeah, well,
here we go.
All right, so right now on Air with Tony Sweet, we have the super middleweight champion of the world, Danny Musico. Along with being a world champion, Danny is Hollywood's most sought-after celebrity trainers. He has worked with the likes of Jessica Simpson, Sylvester Stallone, Mark Wahlberg, and Jamie Foxx, and that's just to name a few.
Yes, Danny.
Hello, hello.
How you doing?
Doing great.
All right. Well, you've worked with, I've been in fitness for a long time. Marla's been in fitness for a long time. Carla was, no.
Yeah, no.
We'll go back. We'll go back over to you.
I was intimidated when I walked into the room. I was like, oh, my God, these guys are in shape.
Yeah, no.
Oh, yeah. Compared to you, no.
Once upon a time, but not today. Okay, continue.
But before we get into what you're doing now and your businesses and who you've worked with, I want to go back to the story. I like to always, because there's always a story with trainers. For me, when I was a kid, I was 250 pounds, and I lost 60 pounds when I was 16 years old. Never looked back. But I always had that fat kid syndrome. On your part, what was your background? What you got into fitness? Why did you start boxing? What was your background?
Well, my grandfather was the boxing champion in 1935.
Wow.
So I grew up in a household where I'm the third generation professional athlete, all on my mom's side, all named Danny.
Oh, right.
That's cool.
Yeah, so my grandfather started me out very young, introducing me to the sport of boxing in the basement, like, all grandpops do, hitting the heavy bag and everything. Never really forced me into the sport, but I fell in love with it. And he saw that I had, the natural ability to be good at it, but he didn't push me in it. I, excelled in other sports, like, I played baseball and football, and I wrestled, just like, everybody else wants to do, trying it out. But I excelled in it. And over the years, I just kept getting better and better. And by the time I was 15, I was, a nationally ranked.
15?
Yeah. By the time I was 15, I was nationally ranked amateur athlete. And started, becoming a prospect for the Olympic team. And the rest took its course.
So at 15, how tall were you and how much did you weigh?
I was 160 pounds.
Oh, that's actually pretty good.
Yeah, I was 160 pounds. I fought at 160. That was my weight class. When I turned pro, I fought at 168. But the amateur weight class is 160. Leading up to that, I weighed about 154 pounds fighting at 160, but my strength was there. I was a lot faster than most of the other kids in my sport. But I grew up in it, and my uncle, professional football player.
Really? Who did he play for?
He played for the Chicago Bears. Dan Mara had a good career.
Oh, yeah, I know that name.
So in my household, we had the regular refrigerator and we had Danny's refrigerator.
Right.
So
like, that's mine.
Yeah,
That's hilarious.
It's it's a family thing when you play a sport like with boxing, and if you ever know like wrestlers and skiers and hockey players, it's not a sport for them. It's a way of life.
No,
right?
yeah.
We don't have an off season, so it's family sitting down for Sunday meals. I got to participate in those meatballs once in a while. But,
Meet the mold. Yes.
But is eating chicken and fish and specialty meals that my mom had to make specifically for me to maintain a weight and to try to stay healthy. But you mentioned being a pudgy kid when you were young. I went through the same thing. When I started the sport of boxing, I was an overweight pudgy kid, and I showed the transformation that I was when I was 10 years old when I started, and through the course of the 30 years that I've been involved with the sport, in my teens, in my 20s, and in my 30s until I left it. And you see the transformation of me jumping rope at 10, me jumping rope at 20, and me jumping rope in my 30s, and seeing the transformation of what my body went through and the physicality
It's amazing.
of it all. But I was a pudgy little kid with a dream.
But see, I just think that is a motivator, because that's that fence that you can go either way. That's like I'm just nobody, and I'm not going to mount anything to where I lost the weight, and I can do anything.
And keeping it real. I mean, there's a natural, I call it your body's best cocktail that happens when you transition into puberty, especially for young guys. Your testosterone goes up, and a lot of kids who are heavy will lean out, especially young men, because your body fat naturally is not as
Jamal's shaking his head over there.
That didn't happen to me.
Well, yeah,
Well, I mean,
I'm still waiting to reach puberty. But,
I mean, for
I'll
those
let
of
you
you who
know.
want to be, for those of you who want to agree to be grown men in this room, I'm just saying. I mean, you know.
no, but you're right. Yeah, it is.
I mean, it helps.
It's a motivating factor too when you start to see that transformation, and I use that every time that I would look at myself in the mirror and see myself, you know, getting better at what I did and seeing my body make that transformation. That is the self-motivating situation. Even with my clients when I train them now, there's no greater motivation that you can give a client when they see it themselves.
Right.
You know, because they motivate themselves to want even more and and push themselves even harder. The lazy people that you have to really push become the most motivated people that you never
When they
have
see
to
the
push.
results.
Has
They see the
anybody in this
results.
room seen? Have you guys seen Foxcatcher?
Yes.
haven't.
Yeah, great.
Right.
Yeah.
So you talk about that dedication. Did you have to, when you weighed in, did you have to be completely nude, or do you come down to?
Everybody
Just a
mostly
sock.
Not
yeah.
to turn this into a blue show. I'm just saying. These are facts, Carla. I'm trying to get some information for people who are listening.
I was
Go ahead,
wondering
Danny.
why, I was wondering why they weighed me in the green room before. Why
Yeah, Carla. Why did you?
Do we have,
was that?
Do we have video footage? Is that part of what we're showing?
Clearly,
here?
I'm just a spectator in this situation. So.
I'm going to start to look to Carla when she closes her eyes. I know I've gone too far. She just went to sleep.
That's funny.
but yeah, we always weighed in the nude. You know, I like to always be under the weight because a lot of times when you're weighing in on someone's foreign scale, they're used to weighing in on that scale every single day because that's their home
Right.
scale. So when you come into their area, now that scale might be a pound different from what yours is. You don't want to have to sweat any weight.
Is that
on
a
the day.
panicky moment? Like, do you feel like, what if I miss? Or do you kind of just, do you know?
It's part of your game plan.
Okay.
You know, you usually, when you have a smart team around you, they game plan for those little incidents that are on purpose by the other team. You know, if those guys are coming in a pound under, you get on that scale, you're a couple, ounces over, and you have to sweat those ounces, which takes a lot of strength out of you on the day of
Yeah,
the
it
fight.
does.
Right.
So you always prepared before that. When I turned pro at 168 pounds, I always came in at 163. So that gave me that 5-pound window. So that I would never have to worry about sweating off anything on a day of a fight.
Wow.
Yeah, I was a 3-time shot put champion in high school, All-American hammer thrower. I've done natural bodybuilding. I taught aerobics for 16 years. I was a trainer for 12 years. I mean,
Tony, wait a second. Let's switch seats. I'm going to come over there. You come
No,
over here.
no. What I'm saying
I'm
is
gonna interview you.
that because I think it's fascinating because I know that what I went through, to get to that. I mean, it's a lot of work. People think, they look at people and go, "Oh, it's so easy," I can do that in a week. No, it's like you said, it's a lifestyle that
Yeah,
you
it really
have
is.
to focus and really dedicate to. Because I opened this business 2 years ago, and I've put on 15 pounds.
Right.
Because I used to work 6 or 7 days a week, and now I'm down to. Okay.
He won't say.
Anyway, but when you were going through your trainings and got to this point, what was the pressure like? Because I know that's another pressure of maintaining a look, maintaining a strength, maintaining your title. What is that pressure like working?
It can take its toll. It really can.
Because mentally it can really.
Well, once you have the motivation when you're trying to reach a certain plateau, and then after you reach it, maintaining that same motivation on a daily basis after you get there, and staying as hungry as you are is what a lot of young athletes fall,
Right.
aside to now because you get all this money, you're paid for it now, and then you lose the desire. And I was lucky enough that I had a great family around me. I'm a very hardworking mom and dad that, when I started getting notoriety in the business of boxing, is that I started using that as motivation also. Started knowing is how much my parents gave to me, how much how hard they worked to give me this opportunity because, boxing is a difficult sport. It's, packing up a car on a Friday night, fighting a Friday night in one town, a Saturday and a Sunday, and, a lot of miles, and I owe my parents a lot, for being there for me with that. And I always thought about how I want to repay them and give them an early retirement and make their lives, more pleasurable, for everything that they did for me. And I have 2 younger brothers. We're 14 months apart. And I always thought about how it would be for me to be able to help everybody in my family.
Wow.
I started thinking about me last and thinking I need to maintain a certain level as long as I possibly can because I want to take care of everybody around
That's a lot
me.
of pressure.
Danny,
Yeah,
I have a question.
sure.
Let's talk about your fears. Okay, let me tell you what I mean. I would like to punch a lot of people,
Right.
but what I don't want is for you to punch me back. So punching, I'm good with the punching part. Kicking, scratching, biting. I'm good. Sometimes you got to Mike Tyson it. Hey, don't get mad. He was a champion. But at the end of the day, what are the fears as a boxer? Because I'm really not even kidding. Like, I even feel like my eye might recover, but I really don't want you to break my nose because I think it came out okay. You guys agree? You like my
You have a
nose,
pretty
Jamal?
nose. Yes, you do.
Okay, thanks. See,
Well,
I was born with it.
I woke up this morning, my nose was on the side of my face. I had to push it back, actually.
But no, on a serious tip, for example, when you're being punched and you look at the mental state of, let's just take, you got Muhammad Ali and a lot of guys who've taken a lot of blows and they're incapacitated now. Do you have, is that when you're young, do you ever think to yourself, man, my brain's going to take a lot of jarring here and I might not be able to remember a lot later?
It's actually a really great question, because I'll tell you what, when you're younger, have you ever heard the phrase, like, kids have no fear?
Right.
So when you put them on a set of skis and they fall, they're only falling a certain amount of distance,
Right.
so they're not afraid to take on anything,
Right.
because they don't realize what they're actually in.
Correct.
Growing up in the sport of boxing, I absolutely had no fear. I ate, and they gave me the phrase, I ate pain like candy. I actually took too much abuse because I worked out so hard and I trained so hard that I would damage, situations in my body and not even know it.
Right.
And it would be to where it got to the point it was really, really bad before I actually realized it, because I would just work through the pain. And that was a bad thing. A lot of people say that's a great thing, but it actually was a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
I had a situation to where I had a problem going on, and my parents took me to the doctor, and they told my parents, if Danny ever complains of a headache, don't give him aspirin, just take him right to the hospital, because his headache is way beyond
Right.
a headache. Because my pain tolerance became so high from it, and because my fear level was so high, like not high, but I wasn't
Right.
afraid of anything. I take on the biggest guy in the
Right.
gym. I didn't care what weight class he was. I just wanted to learn, so I was motivated by just trying to get better. As you get older in the sport, and your body starts to wear down a little bit,
Doesn't recover as fast.
doesn't recover as fast. You
Still
start
nose pains.
You start thinking about that a lot more. You start
Yeah.
thinking about your longevity in the sport, how not to get hit. Before, when you're a young bull, it's about, you could trade punches with everybody.
Right.
But now your offense has to become a defense. It's trying about longevity. You have people like Arturo Gatti, who, everybody loved in the sport. He was the human highlight reel,
Right.
who I knew from the very beginning of his career, who put on such a great, spectacular, boxing match of a show where it was a slugfest. But it made for a very short career because he got hit too much.
Right.
Wow.
The latitude in the sport now is being able to outbox the other opponent without taking a lot of abuse.
Right.
Hence Floyd Mayweather, a guy like that, where he's not getting himself in brawls, and you hear people boo him and do different things, and, about the way he fights different opponents right now. But he's very smart. He's getting paid a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
He takes a little abuse to his body, and he outpoints everybody. He's a superior master at his craft of boxing.
I happen to know Victor Ortiz,
Yeah,
and he kept insisting on showing me. He was boxing, I guess, and he was showing me he wanted to show me the broken jaw, because I guess his corner kept sending him back in, and his jaw was hanging.
Ew.
And I'm like, bro, I don't want to see this. I gotta go. I'm leaving. I won't look at
She
this.
said I gotta go.
I gotta go.
Isn't that the same boxer who was on Dancing with the Stars?
Yeah, and now he just did the Sylvester Stallone movie, the
Expendables?
Expendables. He was
But
in the
but
last-
it's
Yeah.
clear that it
He was in
takes
Los
there's a please. I know you have people here with you as well. If you could teach me how to defend myself about what I'm about to say to Danny. Yeah, the bottom line is, Danny, this whole there has to be some amount of little crazy in there. There's a special kind of person who says, yeah, you know what? Like my little grandson loves to fight, but he doesn't want you to hit him. He wants to be. He's his grandmother. He wants to do all the hitting. There's got to be something.
He wants to do all
like
the hitting.
you talk about taking punches, and
Right.
so you said you ran towards pain. That's why boxing is not overflowing, because there's very few people who get into the art of it. Which, by the way, I'm on old school. I like the sport of boxing.
Right.
I'm not an MMA girl. I just think, I don't know, something about it is so brutal. I can't even.
Yeah. What do you think about that?
Well, I think it's hit its peak, honestly, with the quality of fighters. I'm not saying there's not somebody out there that's in the wake of becoming great, but the people like the Shamrocks, the Gracies, the people who put the sport on the map. The sport is made to make someone submit. It was born for submission techniques. So you being well schooled on the ground, stand up, and take down, and putting those three things together, you're able 1 second to take someone down, the next second they're submitting because you put them into a move that makes them tap out. Now what the sport has become is anybody who had a little bit of wrestling experience, boxing experience, or karate doesn't have all the other techniques. They're just matching these people up, and it becomes a slugfest.
Or a little Kimbo.
Right, exactly.
Training.
Well,
exactly.
So if I went to Barney's on a Friday night and I took two drunk guys out into the parking lot, I could sell tickets.
Right.
So it's basically it's basically what the sport has become to, because they're not as schooled in all of the aspects of the sport. Right. And that's what makes for lackluster fights in the MMA, because if you get two guys who have no takedown ability, then they just stand up and slug it out. And then if they do have takedown ability but have no grappling skills, they're just riding each other for the time because they don't know how to submit. Right. And it becomes for a very boring pattern. That's why in the very beginning it was so exciting, and it took off because these guys were so well schooled.
Okay, can you, because I know that I feel like you should owe me something because we're sitting here. Can you teach me how to defend myself against Carla? Because before you walked in the room, she threatened me and she said she was going to come over here and she was going to kick what should I do, Danny? Do I start here? Do I punch back? Do I duck? Do I bob and weave? Do I go here? What do I do?
You got to want to keep her on the end of her jab. She's quick.
Okay.
You got to keep her on the end of the jab.
You see what I did? I'm smart. I'm getting all the tips down here. Come on, bring it on, Carla.
It's all good.
Come on.
It's all
What you got, Carla? Bring it.
It's all good.
If this was a TV show, people could see the looks flying around in here right now.
There's cameras all over here.
There's cameras all over the place.
They know Carla's looks.
Right.
She gives those look to me.
It's all good. But look over here, Danny.
Carla's cracking her knuckles, scratching the side of her nose.
Got the net wiggle going.
She's from St. Louis, so watch out now.
So, how did you? Let me ask you this first. Would you ever consider training someone to box?
Well, with the clients that I have now, I actually do teach them boxing. It's a part of the training.
Professionally.
It would be a very rare opportunity if I ever actually did enlist myself to do something like that. Getting someone, and the amount of time that you have to spend with someone, and given the little chance there is for someone to actually make it in the sport of boxing, it's a very difficult thing, because trainers back in the day, unless you have someone financially backing that fighter, trainers don't make any money to do that. So to actually make a living training a fighter as they're coming up, unless they are coming off the Olympics and are managed by someone with boxing who's going to pay you a salary, there is no money in there.
Is that a shift from the way it used to be, or has it always been like that?
It's been like that for a long time. When you coming up, if you have, I was lucky enough to be trained by my grandfather at the beginning. Make a dent in the sport that I was recruited, and then I had major trainers around me like the Ace Muratas and the Lou Duvas, and I was blessed enough to be able to step into that because I proved my skills. Right. But fighters that are coming out now, if they don't have a great amateur career, and it doesn't mean they're not going to be a great professional, because it's all a learning process. But you can have a guy who loses all the time as an amateur, all of a sudden he turns pro, and it's a different fight game, because you have 3 rounds of 2 minutes or less in the amateurs to go out there and just get it done. Right. When it becomes a professional situation, you have a lot more rounds over a 3-minute period of time to actually work your skills. So amateurs who slug it out have a better ability, because you're just getting there and slugging it out. It's a scoring system, and it all comes down to the 4 ringside judges who are hitting a little box with a red and a blue corner on it, and that's how they score. So you're really giving, if a judge is off and he's not hitting that blue button simultaneously with the other ones, you're not getting points for that.
Oh, that's messed up.
Yeah, and you have an area of the glove as an amateur that's only the scoring area. If you ever saw the boxing gloves as an amateur, it could be all red and has a little white area in the front.
Right.
And you can only score and be credited when you're hit with the white area.
Got it.
So it becomes a different situation when you turn pro. Now you have, you're starting out with 4 rounders to 6 rounders to 8 rounders to 10 rounders to 12 round fights. So you're able to pace yourself out a little bit more, give yourself a little bit more room to become to box and punch. So you could become a better fighter as a pro. If you have the backing of a manager that can pay the salary of a good trainer to actually sit there and hone your skills, you're blessed enough to have that. If not, you're going to your local PAL, or you have the local fireman who had some skills, and boxed, and hoping they could teach you something to get you to a level to where you can prove yourself, and then you're selling tickets to the local boxing match to make your salary.
So basically, someone that wants to train someone to be a professional boxer, you're not getting any cash unless that fighter is sponsored financially through someone else. Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's messed up.
And I tell you what happens with the fighter. What's even more of a situation for the fighters, when you have a manager who actually puts out those monies for your career as you're coming up, they're recoupable funds by the manager.
Wow.
So they can sue you if you decide you want to kick them to
You
the
can
curb.
get your ass kicked and you can be bankrupt. Is what he's trying to tell you.
You're signing a contract. Yeah, you're signing a contract locking you in, and then when you start making money,
That's not right.
those
That's
managers
messed
are
up.
taking that money back from those.
So
fight
that's what
purses.
happened with all those people that were dealing with Don King then.
Well, that's a promoting situation. That's a different story.
Oh, right. He is
So,
a promoter.
he's a
You're
promoter.
absolutely right.
You can't have all
But
that
look,
oil in your hair standing up and be
look,
teaching people to box.
I got confused. I got a little
Right.
Just
confused
slip right
because he be standing on the side like he is the trainer. So I digressed for a second. But I just digressed for a second. But having said that, really?
That was mine. Sorry.
Excuse me. Hold on one second. Yeah, sometimes the president
Excuse
is trying
me,
to reach
Jamal
us.
cannot come to the phone right now. Okay.
Listen, boo, we got Jamal. He's on lock.
Sorry,
okay?
boo.
See what I
Check
do?
him
See what I do
later.
for your audience? They're calling to get in on this. The audience is
good.
calling
Talk to
Jamal's
Danny.
phone.
That was quick.
We can't talk to Danny.
That
Quick,
was
get
quick.
Jamal.
But listen here, how did you make that transition of being, a professional boxer and now you're training and you're doing celebrities? How did you make that transition to come completely out of that and just do what you're doing now?
I never had any aspirations to actually do it. believe it or
Really?
not.
It chose you.
So how did you get
It
there?
really did choose me. I got a call by Bruce Willis. My first step was with Debbie Moore for G.I. Jane.
Oh,
to-
wow.
to get
I just
her-
watched that the other day.
Yeah, so
That's
she-
one of my favorite freaking movies.
See that?
I promise you. I'm like, see, I'm gonna be a tough chick like that. Then I cry and run to my room and shut the door.
I got props for anybody that can make anyone, including Demi Moore, do a pull up. Cause baby, what?
When they were, and she was taking those punches.
I'm just saying, what?
Yes, Master Chief. I know every word to that.
Okay,
go
we
ahead.
digress.
Hey, yeah, I'm
Anyway, go
sorry.
ahead.
You got them all excited. Look at you.
That's what happens when you talk to. If you had just had them in the room, it would have been good. But women, we're all over the place.
We don't need no sweet sweat in here. It's hot enough.
But anyway, so it chose you.
So yeah, so I got that. Bruce is a fellow New Jerseyan, and used to come to watch me fight all the time, and we became buddies. And when Demi was up for that role, I got the call to work with her, and as a friend and everything, started working with her, getting her into shape. And I was living in New York at the time, so that became like a long haul to teach her some boxing skills, because if you know the movie, she's nothing but kicking butt through the whole movie.
Right.
So that started it out, and I just really thought, okay, it was this job that I was gonna do, and it was all great, and she looked amazing, and got some good media coverage
she looked
about.
amazing.
Yeah.
Well, clearly
Yeah.
you had an impression on her early on because her body is still kicking at like 50 something.
You know what? She's a hard worker.
Matter of
You know,
fact-
I can only take partial credit, because any trainer who tried to take 100% of the credit is actually just lying.
I agree.
No, I'm not saying take credit, but what I am saying is that whatever you did with her
It had an
in
impact.
preparation for that film, it had an impact on
'Cause
her
she's
because
still-
she's kept it up.
Right, and she was great enough to actually say that a lot of times and give me a lot of credit.
Well, the truth
But
is the
I'd
truth,
like to-
honey.
amazing hard worker.
You humble, but
Well,
the truth is the truth.
I would also like to
Hard
say thank you for making Demi Moore the only cougar that can kill. She can do. She's killing him. She's slaying him, Carla. Don't laugh. It's real.
Yeah.
It's real. Myth or fact? I have a myth or fact with you. Now, you have a beautiful girlfriend. She's here. I've seen her.
She is beautiful. She's
Okay.
right there.
She is, and she seems like she has a really sweet spirit, but that's not what the myth of the fact is about. So the two of you go out, and you're hanging out at a bar or whatever, and some dude just gets completely, he knows who you are, but he gets out of hand because he's, a little inebriated, and he goes out of control with your girlfriend, and it becomes physical.
Danny turning red
And
already.
look, Danny's mad. Danny's like, and so,
His face went like this.
so not to stir anything up, but his name is Jamal, and he's sitting right here. No, anyway. And you end up
Please,
having
please,
to,
not me.
and you end up getting into a physical scenario. Is it true? Here's the myth or fact. Fact or myth that you cannot do bodily harm to someone because your hands are registered as a lethal weapon? Is that
is a myth, but there is facts behind it. The
you
myth,
can kick
the
a
myth is-
stranger's ass,
the,
Danny?
the myth is this. The myth is that when someone barks up the wrong tree, and if they commit themselves to doing harm to me or my money or my honey, that's
He said my money or
or
my
my
honey.
He's a rapper.
You're not gonna
Who
mess.
knew?
You're not gonna mess with my money or my honey. But I've been in that situation before, unfortunately. And once they put their hands on you physically, they have committed to that, and you're allowed to defend yourself in front of any
I
court of
would
law.
hate to be the man.
And if they're just talking to you and they can scream all they want, they can curse
you
you
can't
out.
initiate.
Do not initiate. That's where you're going to be in the wrong. When they physically commit, whether it's putting their hand on your shoulder, because you are allowed to defend yourself.
Okay.
But if you continue to beat on them, or you take it to a level to where you don't have where it's out of control,
Right.
you're at fault. You have to use enough force to control the situation, just like they would say, in a police academy or something like that. A fighter has that same ability to defend himself. I can't give everybody my resume before they fight. Hey, pal, I don't want to fight with you. I'm the former super middleweight champion. You can't do that when someone is attacking you on the street. You have the right to defend yourself.
Okay, what are the 3 strike zones that I need to just disable Carla? Where do I hit her? If she comes at me, it's because there are lethal spots. It's almost like when you go to gun training. I'm not trying to be funny. There are only 2 or 3 spots in your whole body that can kill you with a bullet instantly.
Right.
The rest of it, you will die because of superfluous damage.
What is
but
it?
not-
Your head, your heart, and your stomach?
No, I think it's your. No, I'm just kidding. No, what for real? Like if we're they're private. Hello, I can't say. What is if you were really trying to stop someone and not just waste your time? Where would be the first place you'd punch them?
Well, there's a couple different things you want to do in a scenario like that. I always tell everybody to go straight for the nose because a couple of different things. A good shot to the nose will also blind your ability sometimes because it also actually causes tearing of the eyes. And because of the bone that's in the middle of your nose, it actually puts pressure on your brain, which could cause immediate knockout.
Oh.
So if you do any type of martial art training early on and you get to a certain level, they'll teach you how to drive that bone in your nose up through someone's skull. Because it will pierce your skull into your brain just like an arrow. So if you hit someone flat on the nose and you hit them good, it will cause them the ability to close their eyes, start tearing from it. They'll be in a complete bloody mess if you break it, and it's instant pain.
Got it.
But what you want to do is be smart enough not to admire your work. Okay.
Dang, I did a good job.
Shove the bone to the brain and then run.
Right. Well, because I mean, if you're looking just to defend yourself, the smartest thing you could do is create a distance between you and an attacker by doing that and leave. If you're going to sit there and admire your work and engage, you better back it up with 1 or 2 more shots.
Right.
Because the natural reaction from someone who has the ability to take a punch is to punch back.
Right.
So if you're there to get hit, you can hurt them, but they can knock you right back out the same way.
Right.
So create the distance, escape, put yourself in a safety position. But if you're not and you feel like you're going to be in a battle, you punch them to the nose, hit them with a left hook to the temple, because the temple is a really devastating area to hit someone if you're able to land it right. The temple will,
It'll kill you, right?
Yeah, someone will really, really have a hard time defending himself if you give them a really good shot to the temple.
Wow.
So go ahead.
Go.
Moving into the present, there's after the holidays, people on that mad dash to try to work out and try to, everybody's like, okay, it's a new year. I want a new me. I want to try to get it together, and you can't get to the gym because the classes are packed and all of that. So what would you say would be 3 key things or 3 key pieces of advice to give some of our listeners and people watching the cameras, whatever, to help them maintain all year long instead of trying to hit that gym really, really hard or hit whatever it is they're doing really, really hard those first 3 months, and then they burn out, and then they're like, oh, I just can't get up. I just can't do it.
Yeah, that's always the thing. The first week, that's why gym memberships go high. In the first
That's right.
It's packed, and then after 7 days, it goes back to normal because people give up on their resolution. It's all about a maintenance program. You have to. It's got to be a life-changing situation. If you're going to look for quick results and look for a magic pill, it's not going to happen. There is no magic pill to this day with all the different things that are being sold, internet, over the counter here. No one's going to be able to claim one pill is going to do it all.
It's just hard work, diet, and exercise, right?
Exercise, diet, and drinking the right amount of water and protein. If you get yourself a good protein, it's going to help balance your body and keep you, eating healthy. But your body needs protein to be able to shed fat and gain muscle. Fit Pro protein is a protein that I use every single day. It's 40 grams of protein and 26 grams of protein. I have it 3 times a day. No matter what walk of life that you're in, if you're an athlete, if you're a stay-at-home mom, if you're someone just pushing the baby stroller, it's going to give you all the nutrients that you need.
Is this a shake you're speaking of?
Yeah, it's a ready-made shake.
Oh, okay.
Is it high in carb content?
No, it's not. And
Okay.
it's lactose-free. It comes from real milk, and it's gluten-free. None of that chalky taste. tastes fantastic. Comes
Remember
in
back in the day
chocolate
when there
vanilla.
was, I remember back
Yeah.
in the day that chalky. Oh,
And the
It's
reason why
the weeder
Right.
products. It's like
Right.
sawdust.
yeah.
The reason why I asked about the carb intake is because some people that are maybe diabetic,
Right.
they have to really watch their carb intake because the higher the carbs, the more sugar, and it takes them over to another place.
And that's why you look for products that have low sugar, even in the protein, which FitPro is. FitPro is one of the best products on the market all around, to hitting all your needs nutritionally. Because a lot of products that are out there are based high in one area, and they promote that. That's what they push on. We're the best protein on the market, but they lack in all the other areas. This protein out there gives you a diverse, across the board fitness, level of vitamins and nutrients that your body needs to count on every single day. But the key is making sure that you have enough of water intake. You have to have a high volume of water intake, because couple things that does. It curbs your appetite. It'll stop those late night cravings. So whenever you get hungry, you go to a bottle of water. Even your protein should be one of your first meals in the day, and should be one of your last meals in the day, because your body breaks down protein while you sleep. So in order to maintain lean muscle mass, which most people want these days, they don't want heavy, bulky bodies. They
Right.
want lean muscle mass because they want to be able to be athletic. Is about taking that protein in around 10 o'clock at night as your last meal before you go to bed. And it's key because it'll keep you over to the next day. And trying to create a 12-hour window from the last time you eat to the next time you eat the next day. It gives your body to be able to level out and maintain itself that way. Will be a key to actually, shedding weight and actually maintaining a lean body mass.
I try to give my fitness clients and fitness friends a 96-ounce for adults water. We say 65, but in reality, to me, if you can get 96 ounces of water, and to me, I always say before, when the sun comes up, when you open your eyes, between the time the sun goes down, is generally because it also gives your bladder a chance to rest and your body acclimates, to be honest. At first, you might seem like you go to the bathroom a lot, but then, your body will get used to it, and then it craves it. I don't think I've actually had a soda, for real, no joke, in 12 years, maybe even more.
Yeah, I don't drink
fantastic.
soda.
At all, period. I mean, I'm just, when you move away from it, you just move all the way away from it.
Let me ask both of y'all this. So there's this big controversy about alkaline water. How do you feel about the difference between plain old H2O and alkaline water?
Well, actually, that's a good question, because there's a water called Essentia that's out there right now.
It's awesome.
It's awesome. 9.5 alkaline, and they put electrolytes in it also to help replenish your body, which is a great selling point for that water. This water is going to be huge. When more and more people start using that water and seeing the difference, it actually is one of the best tasting waters I ever had, and I was just recently introduced to it, and I've become a huge fan of it. And to replenish my body with all the sweating that I do in the gym, I sweat like crazy.
Right.
I'm sure.
And this water actually feels like it's giving me a boost of energy. So it's actually a really great product, and you know it, right?
I've been drinking Essentia for a while, which is why I said really,
Yeah.
because they don't carry Essentia. Here's what I always say: that water that has a nutritional value is where you'd want to start, and so some are more popular than others. But keep in mind that there's oxidation from the time that a water it goes through this alkaline process. It's got 48 hours before it starts to lose a lot of those properties that you're looking to get. So just be aware that if I take a bottle of Essentia off the shelf at Whole Foods and I run it through testing and it's been there for a minute, it's still better for you, I believe, than everything else, because I've actually been to some water seminars. But at the same time, it may not be the 9.5 that it was. It may be down to 6.8, 7.2. Like, because it's number one, it's in a clear container. So the darker the container, the more you're going to be able to maintain. The more the light shines in. It's literally oxidation. So that's what's beginning to happen, and those properties are breaking down. So the other thing about Essentia, which is why I think that Danny was saying it gives him energy, water clusters, sometimes when they send it through the process, then it becomes a smaller, they literally break it down so it absorbs in the actual cell better and hydrates straight into the cell. So if your cell looks like this basic water, we'll call it shit water for today, based on our earlier conversation. Right?
Girl, can't you just say poop?
What?
Poopy water.
Are we adults? It's shit. Okay. Anyway, so we'll take the poopy water, and when we pour it over the cell, it just literally kind of just wets the sheath, the outside of the actual cell. But for water to absorb into the cell, and it begins to release toxicity. And you become revitalized, and that's what a lot of that waste is. People always say, "Are you washing away your fat?" You're not. But
It's actually waking up other cells in your
Yes.
body. That's why, like, when you work out, is your body releases the endorphins to
Right.
give you more energy. And being that it's the 9.5 alkaline, what it's doing, it's actually, the larger your muscle mass and the more athletic you are, the more oxygen it takes to oxygenate the blood. So if you're muscular and you're an athletic person, you can get tired faster. So with drinking the alkaline water, that's why it's giving you that boost of energy, because it's actually oxidizing the muscle. So you're
Okay.
feeling the difference.
Okay.
So what are you talking about? Kangen water? Is that what you were talking about, Carla?
No, a girlfriend of mine was telling me about alkaline water. That's why I asked. So I
Yeah.
thought while I had y'all here, I would just.
I think
ask
that I think
question.
that I always say, you know, work smarter, not harder.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to drink water, which is what I tell my clients, why not get something that's going to maximize your hydration potential and your energy levels? That's my thing. I'm gonna drink it anyway, so I might as well. That's a simple step to me to start yourself on better fitness. This is already going to be a staple.
Okay, now on that same subject, in accordance with the water situation, how do you guys feel about those enhancing drops for water?
Well, those are actually H2O drugs. They're trying to do what they're doing with the alkaline, actually.
Okay.
They're trying to add H2O to the original water. There hasn't been any real testing to actually prove that those added H2O drops actually work. It's been something that's been for a long time, and they did that a lot with astronauts way back in the day to see if it would actually increase their oxygen levels while they're in space. There still hasn't been anything that actually really came out to say that these things actually work. That's why the difference, you made a great point, of shelf life, because if you have 9.5, and even if it's on the shelf longer than your regular water, you may be decreasing that level, but it's still, you're getting more of a
Yes.
level than ordinary water. And why not give your body that benefit of being able to have a little bit more of a boost than drinking natural water? It's there.
Now, this is the thing. I'm one of those people, I hate drinking water. I can't stand it because it has no taste. So, and I just hate it. So I usually.
Put rum in it?
Huh?
Put rum in it?
But I usually use those little
You're not supposed to
enhancing.
know that.
I usually use those little enhancing drops. So I was just interested to know what you
I
guys
would
think
I would
about
tell
that.
you, ixnay, no way, hell no way. Hey, don't do it. I say
Really?
that. Here's what I say: you want to do everything natural. I encourage people to chop up some cucumber, infuse your water, or use cucumber and fresh lemon. Organic as possible. I mean, in other words, I just believe that once you start putting flavor crystals and things in water, you're changing it.
Not flavor crystals.
Okay,
just
but you
the
just-
just the
The
just
added
a little
oxygen levels.
Yeah,
but
just a
but
little
if,
drop.
if
drop
it's
stuff.
not, I mean, in other words, it's pure water, so it's H2O, so it has a hydration benefit. If you really just can't get it down, you can do that. But like my clients will come and say, "Well, I drank tea." I said, "Okay, that's great, but what about your water?" Like, water's water, and then there's other things. So to me, and the other thing about it is there's something mental about keeping it simple, because once you start making exceptions, I'm gonna have, I can do just a little bit of this, and then it's a little bit 5 days a week, 6 days a week.
No, but this
So-
is the thing. This is the thing. So when you're drinking the water, you're drinking the water. I agree with that.
Okay.
But when you're having a meal and you are one of those people that you liked having like
Flavor,
sweet tea or
right.
some kind of flavor, some kind of sweetness going on to drink, to knock back when you're having the food, if it's not wine or whatever.
I'm with that, though.
You know what I mean?
I'm with what you're
Okay,
saying.
that's what I'm saying.
No, I'm with it, but what I'm saying is that I say do that in your brain.
In moderation.
Add
right?
that in addition to. So if Danny says,
Okay.
let's drink 8 of these in a day.
No, I got that.
Okay, but you need at dinner to have that little flavor in there. You've already had your 8.
Yes.
Or your 6 or whatever.
That's what
but
I'm
you-
saying.
Yes. and
Okay.
So
That's what
I
I'm
always
saying.
say get your quantity of pure water in, and then do the additional addendum.
That's what I'm saying.
And I want to ask, because time is getting away from us. I want to ask you, because as a trainer or was a trainer, everybody is different in their routines, and everybody has their own journey on getting to their final goal.
Correct.
And I'm looking at some of the people you've worked with, Jessica Simpson, Demi Moore, Hillary Swank, and all that stuff. When apparently most of these are probably for roles.
Correct.
What do you do to prepare to get these people in shape? Because not every one of these are going to be the same routine and same. How do you get yourself
That's
prepared?
great question, Tony, because everybody's fitness level is different. Everybody has problem areas.
Right.
People have injuries that you have to compensate for. I build everybody's routine specifically for them. So if you come into me, and I try to be like the Picasso of trainers, it's I have to paint a picture. So if you're coming to me and you say I have to look like this for a certain role, I need Brad Pitt thighs for Thor. There's a certain, there's, you know, there's
I'll
a,
take it.
There you go.
Red
So, you know,
thighs for Thor.
you know, like Carla was saying, what I do is I get on Amazon, I order them a pair of arms and legs. I said, try these on.
Yeah.
But,
I need the jumbo pack, Bob. Quick, ASAP.
but yeah, it's gearing whatever their goal is. It's to gear that specific workout to reach that goal. So if you're a Victoria's Secret model, you're coming to me because you need to walk down the runway in a bathing suit. You need a flat stomach, but not show ab muscles.
Right.
So you have to be able to make
But you
that
have to be
workout.
a smart trainer because
Well, you
I've
have to be
seen
educated.
I've seen a lot of
education.
trainers, especially in this town, a lot of trainers. It's always the same routine. They train the same way every client.
And it's a pet peeve of mine because on Mondays they're doing chest,
Right.
And on Tuesdays they're doing arms. And it's like I can almost calculate what they're doing, and I say it all the time. That's an uneducated trainer. That's a trainer that's stuck in only thing that he knows. He doesn't keep up with the advancements of training. I read up on everything. I'm reading the pros and the cons of different situations. I'm learning different exercises. I'm trying to keep up as much of the advancement of technology as you possibly can. Things that we used to do in the past that we thought were great for us are actually turned out to be
Bad.
not,
Right.
not
And
the
it
great thing
changes.
for us.
It changes all the time.
Right.
All the time.
And you have to you have to stay all ahead of that, and you have to be able to figure out actually make a decision of what you really think that works. So a lot of it comes down to decision making on the trainer's part too. I know what works for me, so I try to use what works for me a lot with my clients, but I also know a lot of my clients don't have the athletic ability for me, so I have to gear that around them.
Yeah.
So, like I said, Victoria's Secret model needs to be able to have, great glutes and long,
What do you
ballroom
do though?
dancer legs.
What would you do? Let's say on a day of just workout with them. What would you do?
It's interval training. So interval training geared to what it is, because that's what's going to burn the most fat and keep the most muscle on, but also at the same time conditioning your heart to actually to maintain not just a look, but to be physically strong and physically in good, in a good heart situation where you can climb a flight of steps without getting tired. I know people who can get on a treadmill or get on an elliptical machine and they're on there for an hour. But if I ask them to run for 30 seconds, they're dead.
Yes,
They're
it's
dead.
very different.
It's very different.
It's very different.
So interval training, and not only, and they say, doing 4 minutes of interval training, your body will continue to burn fat for the next 23 hours of the day doing it correctly. Now, my people are coming in and doing interval training for 60 minutes. When they leave, the pool has become an indoor pool. It's called my gym. And it's just a pool of sweat, and they know, and they're dead tired, but there's never, like clockwork, a text message comes from later on in the day. I feel great. That was a great workout. Their energy level becomes higher. It's a tough workout. It's not for someone who just wants to come in and read the newspaper
And look cute.
Right.
Because I can't understand how someone can get on a treadmill and read a magazine and actually go line by line while they're running on a treadmill.
Not even break a sweat or breathe hard.
And they're actually keeping up with the article that they're turning the pages. I can never work out as hard as I possibly can and read a magazine. If it was up to me, I wouldn't have TVs on any piece of equipment in the gym.
Well, I can tell you that I'm going to replay this because I'm in love with this man now. Before he was just a boxer that likes to have his head knocked around, but now because everything that you're saying is what I believe in, and in all reality, for 13 years I've never worked for a gym.
See
that was the reason why. And I tell people all the time, you give me 30 minutes. If I told you that we could change or save your life in 30 minutes, would you tell me no? Because you get all that. You don't have enough time. Because if you structure a workout correctly, and it's focused, and you have intervals going and whatever, you can do more in that half hour than most people can do. That's what I said, because I told somebody, I said, let's just look at examples. How many times have any of us been in a gym, and I know somebody like this, that I swear to you they take 2 spinning classes a day, and they are 300 pounds, 200 and something. and forever, it never changes. And the reality,
Why are you looking at me?
Sorry, Tony, I didn't mean to bust you out.
Wait a minute here.
No, but the bottom line is it's a very interesting phenomenon. And number one, I said to them all, because they come ask me, how come they're not losing weight? They're in every class. I'm like, first of all, they're doing the same thing. Their body's gotten acclimated, and who knows how they eat when they walk out of here. So you got 80% of what goes in your body is really going to control most of your outcome. So to me, it's like I always say, it's like turning on a pilot. And so this man comes in, and to me, getting you to burn at a higher level is having an automatic pilot. And then when you do exercise, it's like going to the top of the stove and just turning on automatic light. versus the person who doesn't do it correctly.
Well,
you have to light it by hand every time.
I'm gonna ask Danny this because, like I said, I've been working out for 30 years. I'm 45. I started when I was 15, and that's when I started losing weight. But I got burnt out. And also I started a business. Now I got to the point, like you said, I go, I work so much, but in my head, I'm like, I know I can go work out. I could go at 9 o'clock at night. I could go at 6 o'clock in the morning. Have you ever got to that point yet? Or maybe a brief period where you got burnt out, you're doing the same old thing? And
no, actually, just the opposite. I get yelled at by Megan over here because I'm actually always wanting to do it, you know?
Look at her like, yes.
We were on vacation for the holidays, and I was up waking her up, after going back east, like 6 o'clock in the morning. She's like, it's Christmas.
No, that would be me. When I used to go up till about 3 years ago, when I'd go on vacation, I would call and make sure, do you have a gym? What do you have in your gym? And people I've dated, and they're like, I can't even go out to dinner with you because you're always like, oh, I can't eat that. I can't eat that. I was like that.
Right.
I'm not like that anymore.
It's about keeping your workouts exciting too, by changing it up. Your body acclimates to a workout after 3 weeks.
Right.
So, and most people will actually not stop seeing results by doing the same workout. You have to continue to trick your body and fool your muscles by changing up the workout. It keeps my clients motivated too by trying something different. When they come in and continuously do it 3 days, 4 days a week of the same exercises on the same day and everything else like that, that will become monotonous for anybody. It's about switching it up. One of the biggest mistakes that you see people do in the gym, and when you're talking about trainers who are uneducated before, is if it's a Monday and let's say it's chest and arm day, they start with chest press. They end up
chest and arm day.
Everybody's Monday, which is actually the wrong thing to do.
You can tell in the gym when you go to the gym, it's a leg day.
Yeah,
leg day.
Everybody's waiting on the leg day. So you have to be able to change those workouts out. If you're doing chest and you're starting with chest press on Mondays and you're finishing with the same bicep curl at the end of the workout, that means every single Monday, your chest is getting you at your best strength, and your arms are getting you at your weakest. So they're always getting the crap end of the deal. You have to switch that up. So start with arm curls and make chest that last when it's at the weakest point. When you're at your weakest point and you're pushing is actually when you make your gains.
Right.
And you have to change that up to you're doing multiple exercises all at the same time. And you don't need a lot of weight. Science has proven that all these people who lift these amazing, crazy weights all the time are actually damaging their body instead of actually helping it build up. If I take a small little, diamond hammer and I just start chipping away at that wall, at some point I'm going to make a dent if I stay there long enough. At some point, you keep lifting those heavy muscles, it's going to make a dent somewhere.
I know. Here's what happened to me is I did the beach body. What is that?
I remember that.
P90X. We were me and a friend like, what the hell, we'll try it. And I did it. I did it the first time around. Great. I mean, I did. I ripped and shredded, and then I did it like maybe 6 months later. I woke up the next day, and for 2 years now, my lower back, it kills me. Kills me. And so now I can't do squats because the pressure pushes against my vertebrae, and so it kills me. And so it scares me a little bit to get back into the training that I used to do because of I don't want to hurt myself.
Yeah. There's so many exercises that you can do using the rest of your own body weight. You don't even have to use weight and stuff like that. I'll get you on a a ball or a Bosu.
There you go.
And there's so many things that you can do just by using your own body weight.
Danny, I have one of those in my trunk right now. I think we should train. I think we should. I got a Bosu ball in my trunk. I have 3 standard pieces of equipment all the time. I got several sizes of medicine balls. I got a Bosu ball in my trunk. I have some tension bands in my trunk, and we will whip your sweet A right here on your show.
We got enough cord to use a jump rope right now. Jump rope out of that. You got your Fit Pro.
Said enough cord to make us
well, we don't want to. We'd hate. You're going to definitely have to come back. But I want you to tell everybody here in Los Angeles. I think Jamal, Marla, Carla, and I should come and visit you. Where? At
100%. I would love for you guys to come. My gym is located on the rooftop of the 60 Hotel in Beverly Hills on Wilshire Boulevard, formerly the Thompson Hotel. It's rebranded as 60. We're located also in New York, and we'll be opening in Miami in February.
Look at
cool.
you.
Look at you.
That's awesome.
Becoming a brand.
I am branding myself. Yes, I don't know what my name is yet, but I am branding myself.
Well, I'm going to be sure that I'm famous for recommending, and I'm going to be sure to be sending people your way because, number one, your philosophy is off the chain. I love the fact that you approach fitness the way that you do, and I also wanted to say, be encouraged, guys, when you're out there. Don't be too afraid, Carla, when you're looking for somebody new, to actually look at the results that they've gotten and make sure that they're the trainer for you. Don't be scared to ask what their background, because we do. We entrust our bodies to people, and sometimes it's about an emotional marriage.
Child, I used to be a trainer. I know what time it is.
Let me give you one little quick tip. One little quick tip. If you ever start a training workout with a trainer, and that trainer doesn't take the time to sit you down and ask you what medications you have, what injuries you have, what kind of where you've been operated on, when was the last time that operation was, just run.
Keep it moving.
Just run.
That would be about 90%.
And I'm telling you that you do run into those people, and they're shocked that you
I
give
bet you
them.
there's 90%
because nobody
of
in
these
my
people.
crew can come that way. Period. And they're like, you know what? You gave me a fitness test. Nobody has done. I'm like, that's unfortunate. That's all I can say.
Because you have to know what weak spots there are on your client, just as well as you know their strong points. You know, it works hand in hand.
All right, how do people get a hold of you?
DannyMusico.com.
That's easy enough. And also your Twitter is the same thing? Is it just
so all my name, DannyMusico.com, Facebook page, website.
Are you saying Danny Musico?
Musico, Musico.
Wow. That's a kick-A name, bro. That's awesome.
That's
like
cool,
you're
right?
like a rock star.
Yeah.
Right? Forget about a boxer, Danny Musico. What's up?
Bon Jovi wanted me when I was young.
All right. Well, Danny, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
All right. We're going to come back here in just a minute. We have a lot more to talk about. And make sure if you missed the pod or this actually live show, you can listen to his podcast on iTunes, and also this will be up on YouTube. So there you go. Be right back on Over Tony Sweet on Universal Broadcasting.
Yep.
In the future, talk radio will actually educate, inspire, and make you think. The future is now. Topics and music that affect your life from Universal Broadcasting Network. Tune in at ubnradio.com.